There you go, Rosie. You want a little coffee? Hello, I'm Thomas Grillo, and I thought I'd talk with you today not as a review episode, but in the way of a demonstration of an assistive technology I've developed using ordinary items such as a webcam and a gooseneck clamp. The webcam is pointed at the theremin's display, and it's allowing me to route the video to this monitor where I can be able to read the theremin's display. And by the way, other sight impaired users of the theremin will be able to duplicate this technology and adapt to the theremin without having to reach for one of these or one of these, which is a telescope, a reading telescope, 8X. And by the way, I am legally blind myself, so when I first found out about the theremin, I was a bit disappointed to learn that it only had an 1.5 inch wide display. But being the inventive tinkerer that I am, I managed to MacGyver together my own bit of assistive technology. And the webcam I'm using is just a simple USB webcam. It's put out by Smakin, S-M-A-K-N, and it features a manual focus. So you're able to work within macro distances by adjusting the focal length of the camera. And with this one, I'm about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches out from the display screen, and yet I'm still able to focus very nicely. The camera itself only cost about $8 on Amazon, maybe $9. And so I was able to get a few of these, so I've got a ready backup in case I have a fail. But these cameras were originally intended for users of notebooks who needed a backup in case their internal camera failed. And I tried mounting this camera onto my Windows tablet, but unfortunately it wasn't going to have any of it. It wasn't compatible with the USB camera, so it wouldn't allow me to use it even when I disabled the internal cameras through Windows Device Manager. And by the way, this is my accompaniment playback tablet, and so I use it for all of my accompaniment playbacks on all of my other theremins. I'll have a tablet set up right here, and I position all my gear here where it's easier for me to see. I've seen some people place the tablets down below their theremins, and I should point out that one of my students tried to mount his tablet up here, but I forgot to tell him that you need to internally retune your theremin to account for the presence of the tablet, and his theremin doesn't have the holes drilled in it yet in the cabinet. Well, with this instrument, you don't get one of these, and that's because there are none of these inside the theremin. There are no inductance adjustment pots inside the theremin. And you gotta be kidding me, you were doing an update. But basically, you don't have to do any internal tuning with the theremin when you mount gear close to the instrument like this. You have a calibration program that allows you to bring stuff very close to the instrument and still be able to calibrate, so good on Moog Music for that. But I thought I'd bring you in closer to let you have a little bit of a closer look at what's going on here, and I'll just do that. And then basically what we have, get this a little better, we have the theremin on a mic stand, and we have video monitors mounted on the same mic stand. This is actually the monitor I borrowed from my production jib crane, the same crane I'm using now. That's connected to a desktop PC located right here, and that's just a Lenovo desktop media PC. It's not anything fancy. You won't be playing Minecraft very well on it. You can, but it's not that great. But it's excellent for the purposes that I need it for creating this assistive technology. And of course, the USB camera is mounted on a gooseneck clamp, which I modified. Took the clamp from one of my video lights, put it on the gooseneck, and that allowed me to clamp directly to the mic stand. The camera's plugged into the same desktop PC. It's a USB, so we're good there. And so basically, we now can have a better view of the theremin's display, thanks to this display, which we can park just about anywhere. And for an extra spin-off application, we have the ability to allow left-handed players to use the theremin, because all they have to do is mount this over here when they're standing back over there. And they'll be able to see the theremin's display, because once you turn the theremin around, you're not going to be able to see this display. It's going to be facing away from you. And so, that's a nice spin-off of the technology. And you also have one other spin-off of the technology. And that is, as you can see, there's a monitor in the background. And I'll just reposition the jib here. I think that's good. We have the ability now for instructors like myself to telestrate what we're doing with the theremin. We now have the ability to demonstrate the relationship between hand position and notes being displayed on the screen. And so that's our second spin-off application. And of course there's a third spin-off, and that's for anyone who just wants a more comfortable position to park the display. And so really it's a versatile little technology, and it's very simple. It doesn't cost very much either. You don't have to use a high definition monitor like this one, which is a 1080p monitor, which I use for commercial level recording of my DVD and other YouTube videos, that kind of thing. You can actually use a monitor that's just an LCD TV. As long as your camera is capable of sending a signal to it, you're good to go. Right, so I think I'll go ahead and mention that the reason why I didn't do a theremin review episode is there are already quite a few videos out on YouTube which aptly demonstrate the theremin's many features. And mainly the reason why I didn't do a review is by the time I did a review, say a few months later, that review would be no longer applicable to the instrument, because features would be vastly different due to the enhancements, improvements, optimizations, that sort of thing with the firmware. And I should also mention the reason why I have one of these in the first place, after I said I wasn't going to have anything to do with a theremin. Back then I didn't know, when this was first released, that firmware updates would become available and that various problems would be sorted. So when I found out from some of my colleagues who attended a theremin workshop in Lippstadt, Germany recently, that the theremin was playable due to the update that was on board, thanks to another colleague who brought a theremin, or a theremin, I decided then and there to go ahead and give this instrument a second chance. Because when it first rolled out, it was rubbish. You could not play this instrument. But now, thanks to update 1.1.0, you can actually use this instrument as an instrument and not as a capacitively controlled device. And so we have that, and we have the ability to adapt to it, and the ability to telestrate to an audience. So, you know, people like myself or Lydia Kavanaugh or Carolina Ike, if they want to demonstrate the various positions relative to what's being displayed on a theremin to a classroom, we can. And you're not limited to any size monitor. You can route this to a video projector now because of the camera, and be able to really demonstrate to an entire audience or an auditorium if you wanted to. You could run it on an 8-foot wide video projector. So there you go. Plenty of applications for this simple little technology. And in a moment I'm going to demonstrate how we calibrate the theremin and get it ready for playing. And it's fairly straightforward and simple. And so we'll just go through that. I'll just verify if I need to. Yeah, I need to. My room is warmed up, and so my pitch field is spread out quite a bit. So I could use, while I'm in theremin mode, I could adjust the field, you know, minutely, but it's been several hours since I've run the theremin, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the calibration procedure. And we'll choose Calibrate. And we'll follow the on-screen prompts. And then just tell me to press Setup and then move about 4 feet away. So we'll do that. Whoops, didn't mean to bump. All right, so that's done. Now we press Setup and hold hand near pitch antenna. That's done. Now we'll hold hand at the far position. Now we're going to work the volume antenna and calibrate it. So we'll set the near position. That's done. And the far position for maximum dynamic or effect range. That's done. And we'll check it. Okay, that's a little better. And now I'll finitely tune. By the way, I'm using theremin mode, which is a new feature in update 1.1.0. It basically reassigns a couple of the knobs. The pitch correction knob gets assigned to being a pitch knob, which I use to expand or contract the field a bit. Now you probably can't hear these low notes, but they're there. All right. And of course you'll hear a little wobble from time to time, and that's because I've got, maybe 10 pounds of gear mounted on a spindly mic stand. Wanted to use a more durable one, but these clamp shelves don't quite fit the diameter of the more rugged stands I have in the studio. Alright, that's fairly well tuned. So now I'm going to go ahead and set up for a short performance. And let's see. Right, back with you. We'll just go ahead and do a quick performance. And the piece that I'm going to perform will be Neil Gow's Lament for the death of his second wife. Don't know what he did for the death of his first wife. And by the way, being legally blind, I have to use Windows Magnifier, which makes using this touchscreen tablet kind of obsolete. So I have to use the mouse to move things around. A lot easier. Alright, we'll just make sure we've got our volume. Make sure we're well tuned. All right. Pardon me. What a lovely little Scottish tune. By the way, the sound that you were hearing, the flute sound, was derived from one of Moog Music's included effects or presets called Flutterfly, and I renamed it Theremin Flute. And all I did was knocked out the effects and tweaked the sound a little bit so it sounded more like a flute. And I'll just show you just briefly how that's done. All we do is we go into the editor, and basically we bring that up. There's the editor. And I've already got the PC, which is the little Lenovo desktop PC. It's already connected to the theremin, so whatever we do to it will be affecting the theremin. So I'll have to be careful. I don't want to muck up my my preset. But that's what backups are for. And so you'll notice that you can actually, when you're working with these presets on the editor, you're actually working with the theremin in real time. And so I'm going to switch on the Windows magnifier because I am legally blind and I can't really see any of this. So here we go. There we go. Alright, so we have our presets. These are my presets which I designed. And so I'll just bring up the volume a little bit on the theremin. Put my hand near it so it won't change pitch. Right, I have an RCA theremin. I have one called Theremin Man, which is pretty cool. It sounds like it has an ah type vowel. Then we have theremin oo, which is an oo vowel, which actually sounds a lot like one of the theremin sounds in the discontinued Etherwave Pro. Not exactly. I'll bring up the volume. And of course we have theremin organ sound that I created, which kind of sounds like a pipe organ on crack. That's enough of that. And then of course we have theremin flute. Theremin ah is basically a pre-version of theremin man. And by the way, you don't have to, if you notice, I'm selecting all of these sounds within the theremin without having to use the theremin's preset knob. I'm just doing that straight from the editor. So, as you can see, what we're doing in the editor is happening in the theremin. And so anything we want to adjust is going to happen in real time. We have our different delay types, we have our different filter types. And we have our cutoff. Resonance. And we'll go back to a filter that I think works better. Yeah. Pitch track, I think, affects what sound you're hearing depending on the position your pitch hand is in. And the volume antenna works the same way too. I found that out. I was wondering why there was not much dynamic expressive response when you use the volume antenna, and that's because they traded that off for the ability to change the sound of effects as your volume hand moves from minimum position to maximum position. And then the final portion of the sweep of the hand is expressive dynamics. So if you're a melodic player and you're wondering what happened to the expressive dynamics, that's what happened. And hopefully Moog Music will address that issue and come out with some sort of update that'll allow us to choose between expressive dynamics, volume control, and effects, or dynamic effects control. And so that's basically how we control everything. We have our scale types, root, pitch correction, and then of course you have your advanced settings, which allow you to control other aspects such as the volume antenna's behavior, your pitch antenna's behavior, and semitones, which allows you to change how many octaves are available, and so forth. And that's pretty much it for the editor. So we'll just back out of that, go back to our visual display, and we'll knock out the Windows magnifier so we can see that. And by the way, I'm using Windows 8.1, and I'm using just the camera app that comes with Windows 8.1 to take the live video. And there we have we're back at our display. And so that's pretty much it for basic operations of the Moog Theremini for sight-impaired users, as well as others who might benefit from the spin-off applications. And so we've just heard a nice lovely tune which demonstrates that the Theremini, because of update 1.1.0, is now musically playable. So I'm in a position now to where I'm comfortable recommending the Theremini for students and intermediate studio musicians, as well as instructors. And so if you want to know what's going on inside the instrument, there's a lovely video that was produced by a gentleman over in the United Kingdom named Markus Fuller. I'll provide a link to him just below in the description. And he does a beautiful job of talking about what goes on inside this instrument, and really cleared up a few issues for me, or questions that I had as to what does what. Right, well, I think that about wraps things up for the Moog Music Theremini as used by a legally blind musician. Thank you and have a good day.